All right. Welcome to another episode of Drinks with MakerDAO Delegates, special Halloween edition with my co-host, Tim Shooter.
Hello.
And on today's episode, we have a special guest by the name of Nadia from the Growth Core unit. Nadia, welcome to Drinks with MakerDAO Delegates. So happy to finally get you on board. How's it going down in South America somewhere, I hope?
Hey guys, happy Halloween. I'm glad to be part of the Halloween special edition. This is so cool. Yeah, it's still in South America. I'll be around for a couple of more days, and then I'm planning to go to Barcelona. You will be there as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to have a delegate house together, Frank and me. And Raphael.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
And maybe some others will join as well. Who knows? We have plenty of space left in the house, so maybe I'm talking with just in case he's thinking about coming over as well. So it will be his first public appearance as a delegate in a location, not on Zoom. So let's see.
Should be fun. I'm looking forward to that. That's called ETH Gathering. Shout out to Tadeo for putting it together. I know he's put a lot of work with a few other individuals and volunteers who are always a part of all these great conferences. But yeah, we just got back from myself, Nadia. I know you also were at DEF CON. Shuppi, unfortunately, you couldn't make it. But anyway, what was your biggest impression and takeaways from DEF CON?
Oh wow, that was huge. I was surprised about all the people that were there, and I know for sure that a lot of them were like newcomers, like the first conference for a lot of people. So I really liked it. Of course, like as all other conferences, you like made other projects, and you also like see people that you see in other conferences, but I really liked all the people from Latin America that were there, because I this is like one thing that I found very interesting. It is the first time in a conference that I speak English and Spanish, like it was like 50-50 mostly. So it is the first time. Like in conferences, it is mostly English, but this time it was like 50-50 with Spanish, and that was great. That was awesome.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It was, good for me as now pretty much I feel like a gringo out here in the United States to get to practice my Spanish, even though I feel like every time I went to a restaurant, I felt like the Colombian people, who were amazing, by the way, kind of knew that I wasn't truly 100% Latino, which kind of made me feel bad that I really need to practice my Spanish more, my Espanol more. So I don't know, Shuppi, maybe you can start taking up some Spanish so we can speak a little bit of Catalan in España.
Yeah, well, at some point, maybe I can even get out my Russian skills. So maybe there will be a point of time where a conference will happen in Russia. I learned Russian in school, no Spanish. I had the option to get Spanish as the third language, but back in these days, I decided Russian is even more delicate and useful, but it's not useful, to be honest. But it's a nice language. But maybe we have a ETH conference in Moscow someday after the war, or I don't know. Let's see. It would be great.
That will be great. There are a lot of projects in Russia, so yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Very difficult language to learn, though. I'll admit that. I tried a few words, but the pronunciation is pretty hard. But yeah, circling back to DEF CON, I think it was my first DEF CON, right, official. I didn't go to Osaka. I believe that was the last one in 2019. Nadia, were you at Osaka in 2019?
Yeah, I was there. And I don't know if it was because like Osaka was 2 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago. Yes.
Yeah, it feels like such a long time. I don't know if it was because of that or because it was in Latin America, but I was so excited about this DevCon. And yeah, like for me, DevCons are always special because it is like the same as what we can experience at ETCC or any of other or Denver, but more. So yeah, I really loved it, and the talks were awesome. I was surprised. This is the first time I heard so many talks about governance and DAOs, and like really good talks. I was impressed about that, and that gives me hope because I see how a lot of very smart people are rethinking how to improve DAOs and all that. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, shout out to Charles St. Louis from Element Finance. He did an amazing. I'll try to link it to this. Yeah.
Amazing. Yes. A lot of things to learn from Element. Like Charles is a genius, governance genius.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. And you know, it's also good to see folks like him continuing to push the boundaries on DAO governance because it's so difficult to figure this thing out, right? Like MakerDAO is probably at the forefront of DAO governance, and you know, there's still so much more room for improvement. I mean, we could probably talk about it for hours, but before we do that, let's get into what we're drinking today, because I already see you, Nadia, drinking something special there. Maybe it's whiskey, maybe it's coffee. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, Shuppi, what do you got today? What exactly is your Halloween costume this year?
It's not related to Halloween, but at least it's beer again, not like last time. So I'm going to have a Tannenzäpfle. It's a very famous brewery here in the area I'm living. It's in two out of 3 bars you get this as the standard beer. I actually don't like it that much, but I was not born here. But all the people originally coming from here really love it. But yeah, I decided to give it a try again. Yeah, so it's going to be a Rothaus Tannenzäpfle. Maybe Frank, you can try to give it a try. Tannenzäpfle, it's not that hard.
Tannenzäpfle?
Tannenzäpfle. Yeah.
Oh, Nadia, can you pronounce that while he gives that a taste?
No, I can't. Sorry.
Tannenzäpfle. It doesn't really matter. It's not a beer that somebody even needs to remember. But I'm running out of options actually, so this is the one I'm trying today. Frank, what are you going to have?
So we actually, when I say we, I should say the individual, Dennis, and actually Tiago of the Ducks core unit. If you guys are familiar with the two amazing individuals of the Ducks team. They came up with this idea to do a coffee trip while we were in Bogota. So we went south of Bogota to the Sylvania area, coffee area. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, Nadia, but it's down south of Bogota, about 2.5 hours away. So it was a long trip. We went along actually with the good folks of Radical, who are doing, speaking of DAO governance, is doing some amazing tooling for DAO governance. And they're also themselves are have hundreds of questions. We could actually get them on the show and like discuss DAO governance for hours, because they're looking to also decentralize their DAO and have so many questions how they should do it. But anyway, we went to the Sylvania. I'll try to post some pictures here with Dennis and Tiago and the rest of the Radical team. Shout out to them. But I got some coffee. I mean, it's 10 a.m. here, Shuppi. Sorry, I can't join you for a drink, man. That wouldn't be good for my liver. But it's Sylvania. It's this coffee grown at this small farm, this family farm. And they told me that a lot of the coffee that they grow, they sell it right to distributors, and then the distributors take it to guess where? The United States. So most Colombians don't get the best coffees. Yeah, you can get it, but it's super expensive at specialty stores. So lucky to have been able to have bought some coffee. This is actually the last that I have, so I don't have the bag with me. It was a generic bag anyway, but Yeah, I have Colombian coffee. What about you, Nadia?
Well, I was planning, because right now I'm in Argentina, I was planning to have a mate with me, but I'm staying in my friend's place, and I couldn't find the mate here. So I'm drinking coffee. Luckily, my friend is like a very professional coffee drinker, so he has like all the elements to prepare a very, very good coffee. So I'm drinking. I don't know where the coffee comes from, but it is really good. Yeah.
And more than likely, it's Colombian. Got to be Colombian, right? But that's a French press. I like that. That's my favorite type of coffee, actually. That's exactly what I did with this one, French press. So why don't we give it a taste? And normally what we do here is we rate our drink from 1 to 5, 5 being the best. But yeah, why don't we cheer to the Endgame. The Endgame Plan got accepted this week. So cheers to all of you.
Waiting is over.
The waiting is here.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. That is good coffee. I'm going to give mine a 4-star. I won't give it a 5-star because I ruined it. I put milk in it. I was told not to put milk in coffee. And yeah, I'm an idiot. But 4-star. What about you, Nadia? How's that Argentinian coffee?
Guys, I have to say it's a 5 stars because, as I told you, right, it is my friend he's like an expert on coffee, so I'm pretty sure that the coffee, I don't know where is it from, but I'm pretty sure it's like a very, very good coffee. So yeah, it tastes wonderful. So 5 stars.
All right.
I think that's the first 5-star coffee we ever had, right?
That's right. I wish we had some sound effects like pop, 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 or something, because that's like a celebration right there. What about your beer that we cannot pronounce to save our lives?
It's so easy. It's Tannenzäpfle. How hard can it be? Tannenzäpfle. It's actually pretty good. I'm surprised. I haven't had this for years, but because I try to avoid that. It's really bitter in a way that I like it. So pretty tough. It's not cold enough. That's a bit sad, but that's not the beer's fault. Yeah, I'm actually surprised. I can give it 4 stars. Maybe I should drink it more often to get it back to 3 stars again. But no, I'm happy.
I'm surprised because originally I thought you were going to give this thing like a 1 or a 2 because you started off.
I was prepared for a 2-star beer, to be honest, but no, it's actually good. I'm surprised. I should try it again soon. Maybe it's because I haven't had alcohol for a week now. Maybe that's the reason.
You started the description like a typical MakerDAO token owner, where there's not a lot of excitement coming in. There's not a lot of excitement, for holding the MKR token. But anyway, speaking of metanomics, the new, I guess we can call it the new way to call the metanomics, tokenomics of the new Endgame Plan. What's going on? We got the growth core unit here. We have Nadia. There's a lot going on. Obviously, there must be a lot of preparation. Recently, we got a couple of clustering proposals, starting with the Crimson cluster. There's also the Spring cluster. Shout out to Centrifuge and Block Tower for putting that together. And then also we have Monatellas with the Viridian, if I got that right, cluster. So we got 3 interesting clusters that are working their way through the MakerDAO forum. Check that out if you get a chance. I'll try to post them on here as well. How's the growth core unit, Nadia, thinking about as far as the end game is concerned, MetaDAOs, and what do you see happening there with your team?
Well, like a very, very complex question. I think right now, for us is a transition. It has to be a transition for us because I think it is important to evolve into MetaDAOs because MetaDAOs will allow us to create new experiments and to grow in different ways as we are growing now. So that is very related to growth's mandate, but in a different way. Like until now, the only thing we were able to do was to, like, maybe if we had an idea about a new product or a new feature of Maker, it was almost impossible to propose it in governance, because of course, like, we have to take care of Maker core, of the protocol, and evolve slowly. Maker is very risk averse, and that is a feature for me. So all these experiments that we wanted to do usually were done by partners. So usually all these cool ideas we had, or these experiments, instead of doing it inside Maker, were done by partners. Actually, like this is like interesting, because back in the time when the foundation existed, like, we had a grants program, and the grants program was the seed of a lot of DeFi protocols that we use now. So, for example, Pull Together, I don't know if you know, but Pull Together was a grantee of the Maker Foundation. Imagine if instead of being a grantee, it could be a Maker product or a MetaDAO in now terms. So I think that's interesting, because MetaDAOs, as I said, will allow us to create more experiments like Pull Together, and perhaps, like, it will have a success, and it will become in the next Pull Together in the next 5 years or so. So I really like that idea, and I want growth to, like, evolve in something like that. So, for example, Rajiv is part of one of the clusters, and I want to see the future of growing inside that MetaDAO, like generating new use cases for real world assets, onboarding more of that into, like, the future MetaDAO, the future protector MetaDAO. So I'm really excited about seeing that transformation of what we know now as the growth core unit into people from the growth core unit probably working with MetaDAOs and helping these MetaDAOs to grow. That is the direction of the growth core unit, and the other one will remain at Maker Core, because as you have seen inside Maker Core, there will be a growth scope that it will be in charge mostly of everything that is about branding, marketing, like the Twitter account, the website, more like internal communications, but not internal communications like from to the internal stakeholders, but more to the ecosystem and to the outside. So I think that that is what will remain at the core, and I hope that also inside MetaDAOs we will be able to find people from growth helping these MetaDAOs to grow as well.
But that's looking from a traditional company perspective, it's that we are basically moving from a functional organization where one team is responsible for, I don't know, developing stuff, one is for business development, one is for, I don't know, coding, that we are basically moving over to verticals like the clusters that we are going to see. That doesn't it also means that most of the business development people inside the growth core unit will transition over out of the core unit into those new clusters?
Well, I think that at some point it will be like that. I don't know when that will happen, but I believe so. Yes, I think it is important, and this is something that Rune has mentioned a lot in the past. Like, what it is important is for us to think about how we can transform the Maker Core, like people that are working into the Maker Core, into something more autonomous and something more, yes, it is more about code and less about agreements between parties. And I think that is important because that means that everything that BD is doing now has to go to MetaDAOs, because Maker Core has to be like more basic in that sense, less of agreements, less of people involved in negotiations, and more about code. So I think that what that means for growth is that, yes, at some point the BD role will be more inside a MetaDAO and less inside Maker Core. I don't know when, but I think that is the North Star that everyone at Maker should be looking at.
Is this creating some kind of uncertainty among the individual contributors already? Because honestly, if I would be in a core unit that is not directly associated to the core, there would be at least a bit of being afraid on my side. And I guess this is not related to me being a German and being paranoid about everything, but isn't this uncertainty about when is this going to happen and how will this shape my individual fate? Is this already some kind of issue that you see?
Absolutely, of course, and it is not just me, but I know for that everyone is like that. Even like for people that know they will remain at Maker Core, and it is because there are a lot of unanswered questions about this transition. Like we know the objective, but we don't know how to transform core units into what the Endgame Plan is proposing. So there are a lot of uncertainties, not just for people in growth core unit, but I know for sure for everyone in Maker. I'm pretty sure that it is the same for you as delegates, because it is not clear, yes, we know we want the Endgame Plan, but it is not clear the how. And I think it is super important for all of us to understand that it is okay to have these unanswered questions, because it is our duty to develop a plan. Like Rune's proposal is telling us, okay, Maker holders, we want to go in that direction, and now core units, delegates, and the community will have to work to understand how we are going to do that. So yes, of course, there are a lot of questions, and my team, even for Rajiv as a member of a cluster, it is not clear for him or for me how the cluster and the core unit will interact in the following months. It is not clear what are the objectives of the cluster. It is not clear, I guess, for you as delegates, how to help core units into this transformation. So yeah, I guess we all are a little bit lost, and now we have to work on the answers for those questions that we have.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I would recommend is probably continuing to do business as usual, and continue to work on what you've been working on, and eventually, you're probably going to get those clusters coming up for a vote. And I think the early clusters have a very high success of clustering into a MetaDAO, and MKR token owners hopefully approving it, right? Because that's the idea of approving the Endgame Plan and moving forward. But I want to go back to something you said where there's probably a lot of uncertainty for a lot of individuals, including delegates. But one thing I think about is a former individual that I know you work very closely with, Greg DePrisco, and he reminds me of the perfect ecosystem actor, because after he left the business development team at the Maker Foundation, he went and he pretty much clustered his own ecosystem actor, which is called RWA & Co. We had him here, right, Tim? and he was an excellent guy to talk to, especially about real world assets. But if you take him as an example, I think you could definitely follow in his footsteps, whether you're going to cluster into like Rajiv is doing with you know, the Viridian cluster, I believe it's called, or if you're looking to become a MetaDAO ecosystem actor, I think there's a big role for you as a community member to be a part of the whole ecosystem, in my opinion. That's the way I'm viewing it. You know, a good example of this is a company by the name of Hair Appliances, spelled H-A-I-E-R. It's a Chinese company that had 80,000 employees. And what they did was they clustered those 80,000 employees into a bunch of like small enterprises or micro enterprises by dividing each employee into 5 units per team. And by doing that, they cut out a lot of the bureaucracy and a lot of the middle management. So they probably got rid of 1,200 individuals that eventually cluster back into these micro enterprises. Again, 4,000 of them. And these guys do refrigerators. I'm pretty sure they do coffee makers. And they are innovating, thinking how a refrigerator can actually understand what your daily diet is, right? I know I'm getting off the subject here, but you know, it's a good example. Excuse me. And I think that if you're listening to this as a MakerDAO community member, there's just going to be a lot of opportunities. But you know, the clustering, in my opinion, is going to take some time. But getting back to Greg DePrisco, Nadia, what are some of your memories of working next to him and what you learned from him?
Oh my God, I love to work with Greg. I learned, I don't know, like everything, I would say. Like Greg, when we were at the foundation, Greg was head of BDs, and he was awesome. I would say like the best boss I ever had. The guy is super smart, like you know that, and he also like the way how he manages people. It's super interesting because it is more like an advisor. So that helps you a lot to grow with his advice. So like, yeah, I think it was not just me, but all of us, like Gustav, Gu, Jen, we were part of his team, and we all learned a lot thanks to him and that advisor role that he had with us.
I think you guys did over 9,000, over 1,000 integrations, 9,000. That would have been amazing, actually. But you did 1,000, so you were close to 9,000, 1,000 plus. Is that correct?
I really don't remember, but yeah, it was an insane number of integrations. Yeah.
Super cool. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that, you know, you were part of all that early success that MakerDAO had. So, you know, for that, as a Maker, not only token owner, but community member, I want to say thank you to you. Where do you see this DAO going in the next 12 months? Do you think that we get at least one of the proposed new synthetic tokens, for lack of a better word, like each DAI before December 2023?
Yeah, absolutely. It died, at least the first version. It is simple. I think probably what will take more time to develop maybe are like the farmings for the MetaDAOs, the token farming for the MetaDAOs. I think that will take more time. But it died, I think, yeah, that is not as complex as could be developing the MetaDAO farms. At least that's what the technical team told me, because I'm not a developer, so I'm just repeating what I've heard. But yes, I think that now, based on the latest maker holders decision, our focus has to be the development of the Endgame Plan. So we will have to prioritize that in whatever we're doing. So yes, I I'm pretty sure that we will have a lot of these developments ready maybe during the first half of next year.
And speaking to some of the partnerships or even some of the connections that you guys at the Growth Core unit have made over the years, how are the folks from the outside looking into the MakerDAO ecosystem? How are they thinking about, or how are they interpreting the MetaDAO, the Endgame Plan, and the MetaDAOs and the clustering and all that good stuff? I can imagine it must be really tough, right?
I mean, it depends. Unfortunately, a lot of the messages that our partners receive are not around new types of governance and MetaDAOs, but the DPEG of DAI. So that is terrible for our partners because they are whenever they integrate DAI, it is thinking about DAI as a stable coin. And they don't care about the technicality that it is a soft peg. I know that it is written in our white paper, but who reads the white paper, you know? And I know as well that probably that's a mistake, but unfortunately, when you call a token a stable coin, there are some expectations, and maybe that was like a mistake we did in the past because we were thinking about Maker and DAI as a stable coin. So when we convinced partners to integrate DAI, like the idea we generated on them was this is a stable coin and this will be $1 whenever you want to convert it to fiat. So of course, like that was a decision that we made in the past. Maybe we should have done something differently. I don't know, but based on that, a lot of these 1,000, 10,000, I don't know how many integrations integrated DAI, believing that it is like a stable coin, and they didn't pay much attention to the soft peg part. So that is what worries more to them. The idea that maybe in 2 years DAI could depeg. So I think that is another interesting challenge that the Growth Core unit will have to manage in the following years to prepare our partners in case that moment becomes a reality. If DAI depegs, we have to prepare the ground for that, because we have to be responsible not just with our partners, but also with DAI users. So we have to prepare our community in case that happens.
But is this depegging really something that people are afraid of? Because honestly, for me, it feels more like a nuclear option that is hopefully never going to happen, or maybe happening down the roads at some point of time. I was wondering if this lack of institutional interest is more related to nobody is interested in leveraging anymore. I mean, we had those institutional vaults discussion for how long is it going? Like 1.5 years already. There were already proposals that were even up for vote, even with certain conditions, but none of them really materialized so far yet. And I wonder if maybe it's not too much about the nuclear option of depegging or soft pegging, and more about the whole crypto secondary economy behind Maker that would use Maker is more in a some kind of a pretty depressed market right now. I mean, we have Celsius, we have Nexo moving out. It's already established relationships that are winding down already. So I was wondering if maybe it's not too much about the possible depegging in the future.
Interesting question. Well, thing is that when we talk with partners, depending on the partner, they are interested on Maker on the demand side or on the supply side, you know. So there are some partners, like for example, exchanges that they don't care about the leverage side of Maker. They care about DAI as a stable coin because they list a stable token. And they, whenever they sell that token to people, they are selling it. Like, remember that these partners is the tool that we use to communicate with retail, because Maker, as it is right now, it is a business to business thing. It is not a business to consumer thing. So whenever we talk with retail, we do it through our partners. And when we talk with these people, with retail, like we have to explain to them, okay, that is a stable coin, because that is not obvious. Like the name doesn't say anything to people. So you have to explain what is DAI. If you say it is a stable coin that is pegged to the dollar, they're expecting something. So in this case, they really don't know about how DAI is issued. Of course, we try to explain to them that it is over collateralized and why that is important. But as you have seen in the past, like retail don't pay much attention to these details. So for retail and the partners that list DAI as a stable coin, Maker vaults are not a feature, are just like, yeah, it is part of the description of the stable coin, but it is not something that they really care. On the other side, there are like more the DeFi players, the crypto banks, companies with a large crypto treasury, and they really care about Maker vaults, and they are the Maker vaults users. And they use DAI not as a stable coin by itself, like the other example, the other partners, but as a medium to leverage their assets. So for them, institutional vaults are something interesting, but in a different market condition. Like right now, it is not interesting, because right now, Maker, because of the over collateralization part, it is not capital efficiency for them. So they prefer to just lock their assets in a centralized exchange, because they have more flexible terms with centralized parties. Like, for example, they can use, at the same time they are locking the assets, they can use their assets. So they have access to their assets. They don't have that in Maker. They can also have liquidations time more flexible than what we have in Maker. So right now, under like these market conditions, it is not something that is attractive for them. When we thought about institutional vaults, this was like a very interesting effort between Maker and our users. We created that product with our users' feedback. The problem again, it's a feature and a bug at the same time. It takes a long time for us to develop a new product, because we have other priorities, because for us it is super important that whatever we are doing is completely and super tested in different ways. So when we came up with the idea and when we had the product ready, like probably it passed a year or something like that. So after a year, a lot of things happened in the market, and the product was not attractive anymore to these companies that wanted something like institutional vaults. That is important.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think, yeah, that is, and this is why I think MetaDAOs are important for Maker, because MetaDAOs, and I hope that at least this is how I see MetaDAOs. MetaDAOs will be able to create products faster than Maker. So if MetaDAOs are seeing an opportunity of a product or a service, the idea, and you know how DeFi is, how crypto markets are, The idea is to create the product as fast as possible to take that portion of the market that is wanting that. If you wait and you develop a product and you bring that product to life after 1 year that you see the need, probably it's too late because the market changed super fast.
Sure, but especially with institutional vaults where we are talking about, I don't know, a couple of 100 million DAI that needs to get minted, you definitely need to have diamond hardened source code. So it's not about just ship something that hopefully works, because the value at risk is just too high. So the only thing that I can think of that we're gonna fix is the priority issue. By basically having just one group of people just taking care of one special thing and have absolute focus on this topic. But you still need to put all the effort in and all the time in. If we are talking about getting audits, for example, this is not something done with, I don't know, a notice of a week. You have to book those people, and it's gonna take some time, and then they have findings, and then you need to reiterate, and then you need to re-audit. So maybe we can reduce this from, I don't know, 12 months to 9 months. But yeah, so my fear is that we essentially don't put this diamond hardening effort onto those things anymore. Because then there is trickle down risk for sure. This is not going to stop just on the level of those who are building this product. This is putting the whole system at risk, and we can just cap it with a reasonable debt ceiling, which we probably don't want to with institutional vaults. I mean, right now we are talking about almost billions for reinvesting USDC, and we need to get into this ballpark as well if we want to go into growth again, right?
Well, at the same, I mean, yes, you're right, but at the same time, we are thinking of new ideas on how we can manage these institutional vaults because of the feedback we get from our partners and all that. And this is something we are doing with Gnosis, with the Gnosis team. Like, they don't have an institutional vault, but they are one of the whales inside or protocol, using the protocol. So we are rethinking institutional vaults as a product in the way that instead of having like a specific product that, as you say, it should be, you have to think about development time plus audits plus like the risk it has inside the protocol because it is a new product. Instead of creating a new product, we are rethinking it as, okay, what if we could like create some sort of soft agreement with Gnosis to give them something they want, and we receive also something we want that is like more than X amount of DAI minted from it or its derivatives. So I think at least inside Maker Core, the way how we will offer institutional vaults in this transition will change, because instead of developing a new product, we want to do it with the things that we already have. And this is, if we do that, we can like have an offering to the partner that is having a need, and we can do that instantly. Well, not instantly, because we also have to pass through a governance process, but it will be faster than developing a new product. So yeah, I agree with you. Like, creating a new product, it is too much. Like, we also are experienced that the same with the multi-chain strategy that requires creating a new product, and that takes time. And probably the time to launch the multi-chain, the teleport, was a few months ago. I don't know, but we're still working on that, and well, we'll see. But yeah, I agree with you. That is why, again, I think MetaDAOs kind of solve the problem, because if we want to create new products, it is better to do it in a MetaDAO and not in Maker Core because of the risk that it represents.
So I think we can take some points away from this conversation, and that's that centralized entity or exchanges, they're pretty much kicking our ass in decentralized finance right now, and it's for two reasons. One, they have more efficiency, right? Because it's the old way of doing things with custody services. Yields right now are just destroyed in decentralized finance, right? And you're better off obviously holding on to US Treasuries versus holding on to, DAI in maybe in something like, Yearn Finance as an example, although I haven't checked the yields there. But compared to Compound and Aave, there's not much yield there. What do you think are some of the things that we need to do besides innovation, besides, finding a way to get, since MakerDAO is a business to business decentralized protocol, what do you think we can do to, in the meantime, to try to attract some of those big institutional players to somehow, some way get the DAI supply back over 10 billion? I mean, we're at 6.2 billion right now, but I would love to see it, 10x from here, but I'll be happy just to see it over 10 billion. What are some of the things we can do?
Well, I think we are doing all that we have to do. The thing is that it takes time, but we are doing everything that we need to, like real world assets and improving the way how we onboard real world assets. It is key to increase DAI supply. Of course, we want more crypto collateral on board, but at this time, the right thing to onboard are real world assets, because as you said, like, so market conditions, DeFi is not passing through like the best moment. But right now, and I'm seeing it in all conferences that we go, the interest about real world assets has increased in a way I've never seen. So it is like the moment to take all these opportunities and select the best ones and work with them to onboard them into the protocol. And again, I don't want to sound like an Endgame Plan, but Endgame Plan fan, but I think MetaDAOs in that sense will help Maker to have a more clear framework on how we are going to onboard and manage these real world assets, and at the same time reduce the time of onboarding that we spend right now. So yeah, I think we are doing what is needed. And on the demand side, it is also interesting what we might be able to do, because by reinvesting the USDC that we have and getting yield from it, imagine what we could do with all that yield that we receive. Imagine if we could like transfer all these gains to DAI users by activating the DAI savings rate. So I think right now we are doing everything that we have to do. It's just that it takes time.
Yeah, for sure. And just to your point of the Endgame and MetaDAOs being able to scale and innovate faster than the DAO right now. Well, last week with core units and no Endgame approved. I think that, going back to my example of that company, they're building a bunch of refrigerators, right? So now I picture MetaDAOs innovating to attract the big businesses that want to play in decentralized finance, that want to have, instead of, in custodial services, their money working, they want to have it in decentralized finance. And hopefully the entire ecosystem of DeFi can come together with MetaDAOs and build out something special. So I'm super excited about that. And as you, Nadia, I have a lot of hope that the Endgame is going to bring some good results. But look, we're running out of time here. I know Shuppi has the MOMC meeting. It's Halloween weekend. Nadia, do people in Argentina celebrate Halloween or what?
Not really, not as in the US.
Yeah, they go crazy here. What about in Germany, Shuppi? Kids gonna go crazy this weekend?
Yeah, it's a thing that kids adopted. I mean, there's free candy, so of course kids adopt this tradition. I still don't get why we do that, but the kids love it, and of course we participate. So this horse face will be probably a subpart to what my kids will wear on Monday. I guess it's on Monday, right? It's the last day of October.
It's actually Sunday. No, you're right. It is Monday. Duh.
It's Monday, right? Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Which is an odd day. So, yeah, it would be a difficult time for people to go out on a Monday, right, dressed up. But what are you dressing up as, Nadia? Anything, or you're passing?
This this is all I can do, like a Nadia with sunglasses. Yeah.
Ah, very cool. You're that famous Colombian actress. I can't remember her name, but I was gonna say Scarlett Johansson, but I think you would need to color your hair a little bit more blonde. But yeah, that's very cool of you to hang out with Shuppi and I and the delegates here on Drinks with MakerDAO Delegates on Halloween weekend, and participating by putting on your cool look. And thank you, Shuppi, for having your racehorse. It's ecstatic there. I can't even think of the word, but yeah, is there some last parting words, Nadia, that you want to say to the MakerDAO community?
Happy Halloween and enjoy the Endgame Plan.
Make it happen. Make it happen. Those are some words.
Make it happen.
That's right. That's right. And to all the Growth Core Unit team members, stay positive, as well as the rest of the core units. I think we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out. We're going to make it work. The Endgame Plan. It's a new paradigm for MakerDAO. So I'm super excited. Thanks again, Nadia, for being on. Look forward to seeing you on the forum, on the GNR call every Thursday. Thanks, Tim Schutner, for being a sport and grabbing some of your kids' costumes and coming on Drinks with MakerDAO Delegates. Until then, happy Halloween and be good to each other.